to the Neutral Zone. I'm your host, Daniel Cross, and yes, it is 2016, halfway through the season, and just before our Christmas break, we had a couple of games going on. One with, on December 16th, Boston Bruins played the Pittsburgh Penguins with a 3-0 victory, and our rookie, Frank Vetrano, had his first NHL hat-trick goal. And tonight we got James Quinn is back. Finally got Mike Payne back, and Chris Fazina, aka Fuzzy. Thanks for coming, Chris. On behalf of Connor, he couldn't make it tonight. So, what do you guys think about Frank Vetrano bringing, his first NHL hat trick?
It was awesome to see. I've seen a lot of poise on the kid since he's been put in the lineup. You gotta like the speed he brings. The hat trick is just a tribute to the hard work he's put in. He's playing most of the time on that bottom six forwards, but when he's had opportunities, he's made the most of it. He's digging hard, he's working, and he's proven that he deserves to be up playing in the NHL.
Yeah, I think he's a real confident kid. A lot to play for, playing for his hometown. It's a great story.
He's been a great spark for them this year. He looked really good in camp, and I was kind of disappointed when he didn't get the nod in the beginning of the season. They sent him down, they started him up in the AHL, but he's just been really good for them. And the best part is he's been consistent. He's in there every night for them. He's been a really good spark plug for them. So hopefully he can keep it going because they've been feeding off his success early on here to start the season.
Also, just before the break, Bruins also played New Jersey Devils. Also a 2-1 victory. Jonas Gustavsson in the net, your backup goalie. Louis Eriksson with the goal, and a shootout goal by Ryan Spooner. It was an edgy game. It was like on your feet game, but the Bruins showed their that they can win, and what do you guys think about that game? I know it's going back to December, but
the goal by Spooner on the shootout was very, very dicey. You see why he's believed to have this elite skill set. He came in, he made a great move, almost like a fake backward stride in there, and he came and he put the puck where it needed to be on that. The game definitely was gritty. Talbot, obviously, he got suspended for interference hit he had in that game, which is a little bit disappointing. He's a veteran player. He's been in the NHL a long time. Should know what's an acceptable hit and what's not an acceptable hit. So you'd like to see more veteran leadership out of him. But overall, 2 points is 2 points, so you got to be happy if it comes via the shootout.
Yeah, going back to Gustafson, he's done everything you could ask for out of a backup goalie. He's been playing great numbers, great everything. As far as the Spooner goal, kid's really come along. He's showing great strides playing on the power play. Good playmaker, just showing his skill in the shootout, so good things from him.
Yeah, I was just going to add, you guys talked about Spooner, you hit a lot of it. I think the big thing with him has been confidence. It looks like he's kind of, gaining a little bit of confidence this year. He's playing well for them, and then you got Eriksson, who scored a goal in that game. He's been good for them all year. He's been one of their better forwards. Granted, he's on a contract year. I think it'll be interesting to see, where they go with him come trade deadline time, if they're in it or if they're not in it, and, where they're going to go with Eriksson. But he's been really good for them, and they've relied on him pretty heavily, and he played really well in that game as well, so.
Also, the Bruins are, still kind of a building team, with a lot of these new players. But, throughout the season so far, going halfway through, you see that these guys are learning quickly and doing pretty well for themselves this season. I didn't expect something like this, but, they're doing pretty well. Rough start, but, we're winning some games, getting some points. I think we're only ranked number 4 in the Eastern Atlantic Conference, and still not all the way up there, but pretty good for us. Looking good so far, I think. But also, rough start to the 2016 season. The Boston Bruins hosted the Winter Classic at Gillette Stadium. 67,000 people attended to the Boston Classic against the Montreal Canadiens. Great rivalry. but the Bruins just didn't have it in them to win this victory. The alumni did, but our own Boston Bruins couldn't make the victory. Any words on your thoughts, the come-out game summary?
Well, real quick, definitely very, very happy with the alumni game. Got to see Sergei Samsonov score in the shootout. That kind of made that game for me.
Ray Bork with the winning goal.
Yeah. That was obviously nice, but it really doesn't mean anything. Going back to the Winter Classic, it was ugly. They didn't show up to play. I know you're missing Krejci, and then Marchand, he had that dumb hit where he got suspended. So you're missing two of your best forwards right there.
You also cannot blame two guys out. Brad Marchand having a 3-game suspension. It's no excuse, but you got to step up. But still not an excuse for Brad Marchand, and
Yeah, the injury thing doesn't work for me. I mean, I've heard guys talk about they're missing 2 of their better forwards, with Krejci and Marchand. But I mean, you look at the Canadians; they're missing the best goaltender in the league. Just an unbelievable goaltender. He's absolutely crucial to their success. They don't have their starting goalie. It just doesn't work for me. Especially you're hosting the Classic. I mean, you're playing your arch rival. I don't care who's hurt. I mean, you got to come out with some fire. And really, from start to finish, they had absolutely nothing. They were totally flat. They never turned it on. And Tuukka Rask played great, but they just didn't support him. And 5-1 loss. It's pretty ugly.
And you're in front of 67,000 Bruins fans.
True.
I didn't see a lot of Canadians fans, but the place filled up. You got that Star Wars theme song going. You got to be fired up for a game like that, especially with your arch rivalry, the Montreal Canadiens. I'm sorry, Quinny, that I interrupted you.
Oh no, it's okay. I got plenty more to say about that game. I think you got to question. I thought the roster management. They sent down Colin Miller right before that, and they called up Koklachev, and they had Seth Griffin playing. And they had trouble getting the puck out of their zone. They could have used a puck-moving defenseman, I thought, in that game. Koklachev, he's been given opportunities in the NHL. He's complaining in training camp that he deserved regular minutes, and he's done anything but prove that. 9 career NHL games, he has no points. So I question that rationale right there. I understand you obviously trying to spark the forwards up a little bit, but yeah, I still think in that situation, you needed the extra hand on deck at the back end.
Just to piggyback off of that, exactly what you touched on. I mean, they send down Colin Miller. They play Kevin Miller and Joe Morrow together, who looked absolutely horrendous all night. They don't have any kind of skill coming on the back end. I think Miller and Joe Morrow went like -3 on the night. They looked absolutely horrible. Definitely a questionable move by the coaching staff. I know they were probably trying to send a message to Colin Miller, trying to get him going, because I know he's back up with them now, but it's just not the right time to do it.
Yeah, did he just get signed back up just after, a day after the game?
Yeah, so I mean, go figure. They missed him, apparently.
Yeah, that was a poor move, I think. Going back to the Winter Classic, it just really lacked, you lack the willingness to win. You have two total shots in your first period, and you come out in the second period and you're flat and nothing's going. And I know that the Bruins are trying to shy away, trying to make a faster game, trying to shy away from the old big bad Bruins that they used to be. But I really think a game like that, where you're down 2 guys, not blaming injury, but when you're down 2 guys, you really have to get up and you have to show some fight. So you have to show some fight in that game, and it just wasn't there.
And going back to the goaltender, Carey Price being out for quite some time now, and Mike Condon, actually a local kid from Holliston, Massachusetts, I believe, plays for the Montreal Canadiens, and he came out and he looked ready to play. His helmet, he had a special request for the helmet for the Winter Classic, supporting his hometown team, the New England Patriots, with the motto, "Do your job," with the 4 Super Bowls, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, two legends for the NFL. But Mike Condon came out ready to play, and only had 1 goal scored on him. He was hungry and he wanted this win. Good for the kid, but still our arch rivalry. What do you guys thoughts on Mike Condon here?
Well, he definitely lived up to that motto. He did his job. The goal that did get by him was a tip out front. You can't blame him on that. That's good. That's on the defenseman. They got to lock up. They got to lock up sticks on that. Bolesky tipped it in. So I mean, he played well. I know they've been going through a rough patch, the Canadians, in the rough month of December, but he's been a bright spot for them when he's been called upon. He's made good saves. There have been games where I think against LA they had about 50 shots on Jonathan Quick, and Jonathan Quick just stood on his head, and they ended up losing that game 3-0. So it's nice to see a local kid have success in the NHL, but just not against the Bruins.
Yeah, I mean it's a great story for Montreal. I mean the kid comes out, he has a phenomenal game in front of all of his family at the game. But the Bruins they didn't test them enough. I mean they didn't put enough pucks on net, like Mike was saying. They had 2 shots. I mean it's in one of the periods you got to test a young goaltender like that, and it's big for the Canadians. You're missing your starting goalie. I mean they were scrambling for goaltending. They went out. They traded for Ben Scrivens, who's really not that good of a goaltender, but they were in desperate need of help. And this kid Condon comes in and he plays great for them. And get the Winter Classic win, which is sticking it to the Bruins pretty good.
Yeah, with a goalie like that with such good confidence, I think you really got to get bodies in front of the net. You got to rattle him somehow. You got to make him come out and play the puck. You got to dump it in deep. You got to chase. You got to do whatever it takes. You can't let him get in a comfort zone like that, because that's what's going to happen to you.
And the Boston Bruins did feel embarrassed about this loss, and the fans probably are embarrassed too. But but Claude Julien says that they want to move forward and continue with their season. Going around the NHL, some other news going on. All-Star game is January 31st. Alex Ovechkin voted as a captain. Patrick Kane, my boy, voted as a captain. And is it John? Scott from Arizona is also a captain. And I believe we talked about this last episode, the 3-on-3 All-Star matchup, Quinny. Didn't we talk?
Yeah, we discussed the new format.
Yeah.
It's going to be, you're going to have 2 20-minute games, and then the winners of those 20-minute games will meet in the finals. 3-on-3. So there's going to be a lot of open ice. You're going to see some of the skill that you won't see in a 5-on-5 game. So it's going to be exciting hockey to watch. John Scott being on that team is an absolute joke. The guy does not belong in the NHL. He's a hack. He goes out there. 2 seasons ago when he was with Buffalo, he hit Louis Erickson shoulder to the head. He got suspended for that. He's a repeat offender of this. I'm all for a good joke, but I think this is actually very disgraceful to the league.
Well, I mean, the All-Star game, in my opinion, is kind of a joke in and of itself. And especially with the fan voting this year, it kind of shows you how much of a joke it really is when John Scott is one of the captains or whatever. But I like the idea. I mean, the 3-on-3 is exciting. I'm not the biggest fan of the All-Star game. I think it's just kind of this whole spectacle in and of itself, but it's going to be entertaining.
They kind of like have a little too much fun with it.
Yeah,
I remember last year, the way they picked the players, they'll kind of have a fun with it. I think it's just, a break from the game, the official point games, can be a joke, but it's more fun for the players, I guess, in my opinion. I didn't even see Jonathan Scott in like the top 50 point.
He's played 11 games this season.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably got 50 penalty minutes.
Yeah.
But,
It's up there in penalty minutes.
I think he's
count for that.
He's been up and down between their Arizona's AHL affiliate, I think 3 or 4 times this season.
I would expect more from the NHL with their captains. I mean, it's the voters that I think they probably did it as a gag, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is kind of disappointing, though. I mean, it's like, what do you?
Yeah, let's
Why?
see.
Whatever,
But with a 3-on-3, I mean, I think for me, what I always enjoyed most about the All-Star game was the skills competition, seeing how hard somebody can shoot the puck and see how fast somebody can stick handle through the cones and stuff. I think you're going to see more of that skill because it's 3-on-3, a lot of open ice. You're going to see how well these guys can pass when they get space, and there's going to be a lot of goals. I mean, a lot of these guys can pick their spots when they have time and space, and they're going to have that, which they're not going to see in a 5-on-5 game.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I always tune into is the skills competition. I mean, it's actual raw skill that you get to see these guys, out there. I mean, the game comes around, goalies are rolling around, goofing around, somersaulting everywhere. It's a little too ridiculous, but skills competition's good stuff.
And last night, Jerome McGinley had his 600th career, was it goal? Or
Yep.
Career goal. I didn't watch the game, but don't have the NHL network apparently. But what do you guys?
He scored it on it was a kind of a weird goal. I don't know if you guys saw it. It looked like it went off someone. He just centered the puck and it went in. I mean, goal's a goal, but it was pretty cool to see though, for sure. He's a legend. I wish the Bruins had committed a little bit longer term with him. It was pretty disappointing, but I don't think anybody's surprised that the
Yeah, I was
Bruins
pretty
were
excited
afraid
when
to
they
commit.
brought him up.
Yeah, there's no taking away. Goal's a goal. 600 goals. That's a pretty big landmark.
It's unbelievable.
Good for him. Great career. Great hard-nosed player. Yeah, like you said, I wish the Bruins could have hung on to him because he made for a great Bruin.
And it's a tribute to hard work through the years. He's been consistently one of the best players in the NHL, and congratulations, future Hall of Famer. Good for him. Obviously, that year with the Bruins, he had 30 goals. He definitely was an impact, and you're still seeing that he can play despite him getting up there in age.
Definitely. Also, going back to the Bruins, there was also something cool. I don't mean to bring up the Winter Classic, but did you see Coach Claude Julien in his outfit? Representing our Bill Belichick, one and only Bill Belichick. I think it was I think he said it was out of respect, letting them play on his home field. It was pretty cool and different, in my opinion. When it comes to the Winter Classic, you got that jacket and the top hat, but Claude Julien came out with the cut sleeve sweatshirt and the winter hat, which was pretty cool and different to see at a Winter Classic game. But if you guys have any thoughts quickly, I just thought that was pretty cool to bring up. But
yeah, well, I think it just speaks volumes to Boston sports as a whole.
yeah,
We've been pretty lucky in the decade that we've had. We've had great success, and it's nice to see Claude Julien pay respect to Bill Belichick like that when he's in his house.
Too bad they didn't play like the Patriots usually do on Gillette, but what are you gonna do? He looked good. Didn't play good, but
yeah, a little swag going on.
little swag, little cutoffs, sleeved swag. It would have been more. It would have been better had he gone nothing under it with the bare arms, but maybe next time if they ever have another Winter Classic.
Well, it's funny. They actually the way the Pats played on Sunday was pretty comparable to the way the Bruins played.
This is true.
The Winter Classic.
This is true. We're in a little bit of a rough
Not a
patch.
good start to the new year.
No.
No, rough start to the new year, actually. So, Chris, I heard you're a Tyler Seguin fan.
Big. Here we go. I'll fill everyone in. You're a huge fan.
Well, he's
Huge.
ranked third. He's ranked
Huge.
third in point streak. So.
Huge Tyler Seguin fan. I'll start by saying it's an absolute travesty that he's not wearing a Bruins uniform right now. I know Quinny has opposing thoughts, but it's just, I know he's playing in a different system, different teammates. He's got Jamie Benn on his line, who's the best power forward in the league, and one of the best forwards in the league. Period. Absolutely dominant. But to watch Tyler Seguin put up these kind of numbers for a few years now, a couple of years, it's just disappointing. It brings me back to the Bruins letting go Phil Kessel, the Bruins letting go Joe Thornton, guys with offensive talent that they don't want to pay these number one forwards. They'd rather have the whole 2 nickels for a dime thing, and they did it again with Seguin. And you know what? It's it's a big slap in the face watching to the Bruins watching Seguin put up these numbers down in Dallas. It's pretty disappointing, but all the power to him. He's a phenomenal player, and he's showing it. He's showing talent that the Bruins never really gave him a chance. So to show.
On that, I'll admit you were right. You were right on that trade. You know,
That feels good.
It was. I mean, it's obviously not working out for them. You know, Louis Erickson's having a good year, but it's not the same level of what Tyler Seguin's doing over in Dallas. But I will say, I think Jamie Benn is what makes him go. You also did see at the end of last year, still with Tyler Seguin and having off-ice issues, he was sat the last game of the season when Jamie Benn's going for the NHL scoring lead, and he overslept again, missed a morning skate meeting, and he got sat. Jamie Benn, he still ended up leading league in scoring this last season, but you know, I thought that the maturity had stepped in, and I thought that stuff was behind him. So that was a little bit disappointing, but so far this year, obviously, he's been tearing up the league. I think Jamie Benn might. If Carey Price was healthy, I'd say he's probably the most valuable player in any team in the NHL. After that, I really think it's Jamie Benn. I think you've seen a drop off in Crosby. I don't think he's actually been the same since his concussions problems going back to the 2010-2011 season. I don't think he plays with the same reckless abandon. He struggled to find the net at times a lot this year. So
I know he's unbelievable. I think he had 114 points or something like that last year. Jamie Benn is absolutely unbelievable. You know, I think for the most part, not to drag this out extensively, but the most disappointing thing about if as an organization you're going to decide to trade a player of that caliber, you got to make sure you're getting enough for him. You know, the Bruins get guys like Riley Smith in return, Joe Morrow. They're getting Louis Erickson, who's the centerpiece of that deal, who until this year really hasn't really produced the way they thought he would. That was probably, aside from the trade itself, the return that they got for Seguin was even more disappointing. And, you know, obviously things didn't work out, seeing as, you know, Louis, they don't even have Smith anymore. They still have Erickson, but who knows if he's going to be here after this season. And, you know, and Seguin was playing with Bergeron and Marchand here. I mean, he wasn't playing with scrubs. You know, those are some pretty good players. It's a different system. And it's, you know, Lindy Ruff runs an offensive type system down there in Dallas, and Seguin's certainly taking advantage of it. And it's not the same Julian system where you got to be responsible in every zone. So it's a different system that fits him a lot better.
You're absolutely right. I agree with the system. But going back to the Bruins, I think that they're just giving up on players way too early. Like Tyler Seguin, Dougie Hamilton. These players haven't even come to yet. I mean, there's so much potential on their shoulders, and now we have to pay for it. But like you said, it's two different systems. You put Seguin with Bergeron, you don't know, but it's two different systems. This year, the Bruins are what, third in scoring, third in goals for? It'd be interesting to see what Tyler Seguin would do if he was on that team.
I think people were very disheartened with Tyler Seguin too, though. Going back to the 2012-2013 Cup run, when he had one goal in the playoffs, he was actually moved down to the fourth line. He was playing with Chris Kelly and Danny Payet. He wasn't on that Marchand Bergeron line, and he actually got replaced with Jágr, who didn't score a single goal in that Stanley Cup run.
I mean, he's a kid. I mean, he's an 18-year-old kid in the Stanley Cup playoffs and the Stanley Cup Finals in his first season.
His age was a huge factor. I believe he was 18 years old at that time.
It was his third year in the league.
It's a lot to handle.
He was 20 years old at that time.
20, 21, yeah.
Well, yeah. The year they won the Cup, wasn't that his rookie season?
Yeah, it was his rookie season. He didn't play until the Eastern Conference Finals, though.
Yeah.
What happened when that happened?
Yeah, he had two great games.
Single-handedly won them the game against Tampa Bay, whatever game that was.
Subbing in for Sean Thornton.
Big goals.
I might not have done that. I'm a big Sean Thornton fan, so.
I mean, he's a kid, and they traded him. He makes
Right.
stupid decisions.
It just goes
Patrick
back to-
Kane's
you
got a
can't give
history
up.
of stupid decisions. Every lot of big players when they're younger run into trouble and they make stupid decisions, and you know, the Bruins seem to continually, you know, give up pretty early.
Right, he's 22, not 32.
All right, sorry to interrupt you real quick. Let's quickly take a look at the rest of the January and then beginning of February schedule. So the 15th, you know, you got Buffalo away, and then you got Toronto home, then Montreal, Vancouver, Columbus, Philadelphia, and Anaheim. That's the rest of January. And you also got the All-Star game. And then moving forward to February, Toronto, Buffalo, Los Angeles, Winnipeg, and Minnesota and Detroit. So that's moving forward. Hopefully, you know, we do better the rest of the year than what we've started. I like to do these fun things, Chris, before we go. Last time I asked Quinny a couple of questions about the Bruins.
Yep.
This time it's the NHL. So you know, let's see if you know your hockey pretty well.
Oh boy, I'm not good at this stuff, but shoot.
Bring it on.
Who scored 10 hat tricks in the NHL season?
God, it's Wayne Gretzky. It's gotta be.
Yeah. You guys can jump in. Definitely, you Mike can jump in too.
That's gotta be Gretzky.
So
Yeah, I'll go Gretzky too.
It's-
I don't.
92 goals in a season. I'm gonna guess it was Gretzky.
what team plays in an arena called the Pond?
Ducks.
Quack quack.
Quack Quack. Also my favorite trilogy, or yeah, it's a trilogy
Yep.
because it's 3 movies.
Third one is highly underrated.
Charlie
Don't
Conway.
see it.
What city hosts the annual Beanpot tournament for the college's powerhouse?
Yeah, it's,
Might
that'd be Boston.
There
I've
you
been
go.
going to too many of those to not get that one right.
Right down the street.
What was Gordie Howe known as? Like his nickname?
Mr. Elbows.
Yeah.
Sharpens the elbows on the opposing players. Comes up nice and high.
You guys are surprising me.
Goal.
What year did the NHL was founded? What year was the NHL founded?
It's the year before the Sox won the World Series. I was just a young kid at the time. 1917 is what I'm going with as the set takes a doozy here. 1917 is what I'm going with.
Yep. Who's the youngest captain in the NHL league?
Right now or of all time?
Right now.
Is it Landeskog?
Oh no.
The youngest captain ever, huh?
Ever? Of all time?
Of all time, it's Yzerman, isn't it?
I got Sidney Crosby here.
18. Wasn't it like 18 when they named the captain? 18 or 19?
I think it was after his rookie season.
Was it after? Yeah.
All right, and finally name all original 6 teams.
Go down the line. You go first.
Bruins.
Canadians.
Red Wings
Toronto Maple Leafs.
Blackhawks.
and that all? Did we miss any?
That's
That'd be
fine.
It's
5.
5.
Bruins, Blackhawks, Canadians, Red Wings, Maple Leafs. Yeah, and the Rangers. Okay.
Boy.
We were going, so we were firing them off. I lost track. There you go. I'm slow. And the Rangers, yes.
Yeah.
Yep, that was all 6. Good job, guys. And sorry about the background here. It kind of fell off.
I'd just like to add a shout out before we part ways here.
Go for
I'd
it.
just like to say VFI till I die. It's going through a rough patch right now, but we're going to make a run at it again.
Vegas
They're missing
Fighting
their,
Irish.
star
Two-time men's
defenseman.
league champions.
All right. Well, I'm sorry about this background here. That's it for this episode of the Neutral Zone. I'm your host, Danny Lacrosse, along with James Quinn, Mike Payne, and Chris, a.k.a. Fuzzy.